Good morning. I'm so happy to be here with you today. And thanks for the wonderful intro. So this is the end of my 5 lectures, 5 countries, 30-day trip. And I'm really, really honored and excited to be here. And I want to share with you some of my best tips on how to create business at every port, everywhere you go. And I want to ask with a very important question, so bear with me. What if you would arrive to a new country, land, get out of the plane, get to the city, and everything collapses for you? And let me explain, because that's exactly what happened to me last October. I arrived at Berlin. I was invited to give a talk at Berlin. I landed, took a taxi, got to the place where I was supposed to give the talk, and they told me, I'm sorry, we have to cancel the talk. Bummer, right? But I'm like, okay, so I have 4 days in Berlin, and I'll just make the most out of it, right? And then a day later, I get a call from the airline saying, I'm sorry, we canceled your flight, and we won't be flying to your destination for the next few months. And I'm like, seriously? And an hour later, literally an hour later, my biggest and main client calls me and say, we have to cancel, we have to stop now, we're freezing it, and we'll be in touch with you soon. Everything collapsed. And as you can understand, can you imagine, I had like an anxiety attack, like dizziness, like, wait, the job here, the event is not going to happen. I don't know how can I get back home because there won't be flights in the next few months. And my main client, my main source of income collapsed, is gone. What should I do? How would you feel about it? That's very, very hard. So that's how my story starts. Basically, Berlin wasn't what I expected. And after I got a grip and I started to kind of recalculate what should I do, I had this realization. Life knows that I'm a top networker. It was like life telling me, you know something? We know that you're such a good networker, so we want to increase the intensity level to 200, and let's see how you cope with it now. I'm like, okay, life, challenge accepted. I'm going to make it happen. And that's how my story starts for you today. So we're going to talk about how was I able to create business in a country where everything collapsed. But before I'll share with you the practical tips, I want to share the main tip, the first tip I'm going to give for today. The first one is what I like to call the networker mindset. You probably heard the say that goes like this: the world is your oyster. And when they say the world is your oyster, they mean that you should walk the world, and I'm sure you do walk the world, with the understanding that anything can be open for you, that all the world is open for you, the people, the opportunities, the adventures, and this is the mindset I actually took on. And in that moment when I decided to get a grip of myself, I remembered, hey, I experienced COVID, and hey, a decade earlier, I was in New York and I lost my job as well. So I turned on the emergency mode. And in my emergency mode, I'm only focusing on what can happen. I raise my energy, I come to the world with a smile, with a high energy, and knowing that the world is my oyster, and knowing that everything will be okay for me. And that's how I walked in Berlin. You can think that I'm crazy because everything collapsed, but I decided I'm only going to see the good things, and I'm going to make lemonade out of the lemon with some gin in it. So that was the first tip. And before that, so who am I and why am I speaking to you about this topic? So my name is Lirone Glikman, and in the past decade, I've been traveling the world teaching how to achieve results through networking and actually how to live a fulfilled life through the power of relationship building. I'm also working with startups, and I help them to expand globally through the same skills, but in their other names, as I call them, the business development and marketing. So this is the other part of networking and personal branding. I'm also an advisor at an external United Nations committee that works on the SDG goals, trying to do a bit good in the world. And I love people, I love traveling, obviously. Yoga and whiskey. Which one of you love yoga? Good. Whiskey, but Scottish whiskey, like Belvini's. Amazing. So that's a bit about me. Now let's get back to our story. I was in Berlin. Everything collapsed. What would you do? To remind you, I had 3 main challenges. 1, extreme uncertainty. And you know what the best method to deal with uncertainty is to take actions, is to create certainty, is to start going out there, meeting people, working it, trying to make something work. And as you are in the motion, in the action, you create some certainty for yourself. So that's what I did. The second main challenge I had was no accommodation. I only was given 4 days. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? So yes, I started to approach some friends and started to tell people that, guys, I need some home, like where to stay. I don't know where I'm going to go back to my home country. And the third one was that I had no more clients. Money was running out. And with all the respect, Berlin is not the cheapest city, but it's also not the most expensive city, and you still need some money to live. So again, what would you do? I'm sure that many of you, when you go to a new country, you probably have your own rituals, right? Many of you probably check what would be the great restaurants and the rate of the hotel or hostel that you're going to be. And I'm sure some of you are approaching some people you know, but the people part, this is the main thing that I always do. So I always, before I go to a new destination, I open my Rolodex and I send messages to the people I know and telling them, hi, I'm coming to town, would love to meet, but I'm also asking to meet new people. If it's through my friends or through posting on social media, hey, I'm arriving in Bansko, is there anyone you think I should meet? So because I did it before Berlin, I had a good list of interesting people, and I just started approaching them. And I told them, hey, I'm here, would love to meet. Hey, this is what happened. Do you think you can connect me to more people? Or do you have any ideas about how can I find accommodation? Or how can I find any ideas for clients? And I told you that my mindset is the world is my oyster. And with that in mind, I always believe that there are so many people out there that want to help me. And this is where I want to ask you, who are the people you think that want to help you in any country you go to? Who would be the people that would want to help you, even if they don't know you personally? Local entrepreneurs. Who else? Other people in the nomad community. Yeah, who else? Anyone, okay, anyone is general, yeah, but you need to be specific, because if I'm walking down the street or in a grocery shop, hi, I have a problem, could you please help me? I need somewhere to live. I mean, it can work, but it needs to be more specific. Coffee shop, if you get a conversation with someone at a coffee shop. Okay. There are many people who want to help you, but let me even narrow it a bit more down. First of all, existing friends, we know that. And these were my first go-to people. And they gave me apartments, they connected me to people, they gave me support. Second one is online groups of travelers, as you mentioned. They know that shit can happen, right? And they will be there for you. Expats community, there are so many of those on Facebook, for example. So it could be expats in Berlin or expats in Madrid. And they also understand the struggles of a traveler, of someone in a foreign country. Your country's embassy or your country chambers of commerce, they're usually the more official bodies, but they also have tools to support you. And theme communities. There are so many communities, if it's in the meetup.com or Facebook or WhatsApp group, of tech, of chess. When I was in Berlin, I went to this chess club and started meeting people there, co-working spaces, of course. And your maybe university alumni that live in the certain country. So many people that are in circles of interest or of some experience that relates to you, even if they don't know you, they would most likely be happy to support you in different levels. And of course, new friends you make from yoga, bars, coffee, hotel. So these were some of the list of people I've started to approach, and I also decided to go to different events and meetups to meet some people from the tech industry. So that's actually what happened. Some people gave me a room or the house. I was traveling all across Berlin. Someone gave me the traveling ticket for free, so I could even save money on that. And I went to different events, nighttime, morning. I was really like hustling to make sure I'll start meeting people, be in action, try to find solutions. So I leaned on existing friendships to create new ones. And then again, I reached to different places, and how do they actually make strangers? to want to help me. So here is one example that you can also use. I went to this event. This is a Techstars event. I am a mentor at a Techstar accelerator. If you don't know, then Techstars is one of the global most famous accelerators for startups, and they have branches all around the world. So they just had an event, and I contacted the managers, and I tell them, hi, I'm also in the community. I would love to join the event. And I don't know if you can see clearly, but I was sitting in the second row, also like facing very close to the stage. And I decided I'm going to do my Q&A trick. Because I said, okay, this is an event with a lot of clients, with a lot of potential clients. All of the people there were startup founders, and startup founders are my clients. So I said, how can I make them know me and make sure that so many people approach me? Because if I'll go one by one, it will be harder. So this is where I decided to use the QA trick. I sat there, and at the end of the session, they said, okay, this is the time for the QA. So one person raised their hand and said, my question is, and then another person raised their hand, German person said, my question is, and then I decided this is my time. I raised my hand, like, yes. Hi, my name is Lirone. I'm a mentor at Techstar, and I'm helping startups to expand through business development. And my question is, and I asked a very relevant question, and I got a very relevant answer. And that's it. Right after the Q&A, people approach you, oh my God, you're from Techstars. Oh, you do business development. So at least 6 different people approached me and started talking to me. And then when I walked around, people recognized me, and we started to engage in conversation much easily. And yes, I did get some leads from this event. So this is one way how I started to get some people and leads and try to get my business back. The next one was, so the next tip is get your ass to work, is ditch the shyness. I know it can be hard, but ditch the shyness. Approach your list of friends and acquaintances at each port. Be proactive with your communication, say what you want, and expand your network all the time. The next one is about how to truly connect with people from different cultures. Now, when I arrived to Berlin, people told me, and I'm sorry if there are any German in the crowd, but people told me, you know, German people, they're a bit snobbish, they're very serious, they won't help you. I never met even one German who wasn't nice to me. Even people who don't know me gave me their house through my LinkedIn alone without even meeting me. All the people I met were amazing. But I think it's also about how we approach people, what we show when we come to them. So a few ways on how to bypassing cultural barriers and break the ice. First of all, smile. You know, eventually people, no matter where they're from, we all want the same things, right? We want to be heard, we want to be loved, we want to be respected. It's so easy, and I'm sure you know it because you travel. So I use it to connect to people. I smile, I ask friends to introduce me their friends to bypass any barriers. I let them lead the conversation if I'm not so sure how to approach them, and then I try to copy the way they talk to me, so I'll be in the same kind of aligned with them in the same way of communication, and I find interest in them. I want to learn more about them, because when you are interested in someone, you become more interesting. And then after we broke the ice, it's about how to deepen the relationship, the connection, and how to leave a lasting impression. Because when you meet people, if you are able to connect with them better, they would want to help you better. And you may know that people, or we, will not necessarily remember what people did or what people say, but we will always remember how people, even that we met them once, we will always remember how they made us feel. And that's what I call the lasting impression. You can meet someone even once, but if you created an experience in communicating with you, then you will be even more memorable, and people would want to connect with you more and help you more. So how do I do it? How do we leave lasting impression? Again, you know all of these, but I want to emphasize that, because that's a very important part of how you connect with people. First of all, be genuine. It only works when it's real. When I teach networking, when I teach my methodology, I always say it has 2 main foundations: authenticity and strategy. Strategy, because we all want to achieve something, and that's amazing, but if we're not going to be authentic, it will never last. So be genuine. Then it's active listening, and in today's fast-paced world, it's really hard to listen, but really try to listen, to understand what people are trying to say behind the word and give them the right feedback. Find common grounds. Now, common grounds are actually the way that we as humans feel comfortable and safe with one another, and this is a glue. I call it, it's a glue in a relationship. Now, I'm going to say my formula of common ground twice, so you could remember that. The common ground has 4 Ps, 4 main topics that you can always talk to people about and connect with them. The 4 Ps are passions. You know, when we talked about passions, we really get excited, like about our travels or hobbies or the last, I don't know, event that we did. So passions, places that we visited, and for you as digital nomads, of course, it's very relevant. People that you met and know, or people that you admire. And present, what's happening right now. So the 4 Ps to talk about with new people to create common grounds are passions, places, people, and present. So this is how I connect with people all the time. Be kind and respectful, of course. Humor and fun, it always creates a better experience in communicating with you. Be supportive, even if you don't know people. You know, it's always about what's going on, or how do you feel, or what do you need, and really try to be supportive to them. Respect boundaries. Sometimes, again, people in different cultures, I usually, before I ask a question, I can say, is that okay? Can I ask you about? I'm kind of trying to respect their boundaries of communication. And of course, follow up to create friendships. So what I said right now was really about how to break the ice with people, but also how to create a lasting impression and connect with them and and create a great experience of connecting with you, so you will be memorable. And these are the foundations for people to want to help you and make business with you. The next one is the business-making sentence of, what can I give? So when I was there in Berlin, when I was in the lowest place, I always thought, what can I give? How can I help those people? Because if I give them, maybe I will feel good. I will feel that I'm worth something right now in this horrible situation. But I will also be able to make new friends and stronger relationships from a genuine place. So I want to ask you, before I'll share what I did, what can you give to those you meet along your journey? Knowledge, connections. You say invite them to meetups. What else can you give to people you meet in the journey? Experiences, lessons learned. Yeah? Solve their problem, therapy, psychologists. Exactly. There's a lot of things we can give to people. And I also, when I asked myself, what can I give them? Because I was, again, in the lowest of the lowest situation. So my sparkling personality, I still smile all the time, so that was good. That's the experience I shared. My personal and professional skills, as you said, my knowledge in the tech, in the networking, in the business world, the connection I have, and I have a lot of connections around the world. I'm a networker, so that's always something I can share with people and support their journey through that. And that's what I did. So actually, I was working there. I came to work at this community center, and I couldn't pay them for the work. So I told them, you know what? Maybe I can just do like a 20-minute session every day and share with your people who are in the co-workers some of my knowledge. And so I did. So I came every day, and during lunchtime, I gave them 20 minutes of different piece of content. And one day, there was this couple there that said, you know what? We really love what you're saying. We really need it for a startup. And after my session, we had a few minutes talk, and they decided they want to hire me. So within like a week and a half of landing in Berlin and losing everything, I got a new client. And they were working at a certain university, so I got to visit them every few days at the university office. And they told me, you know, we want to introduce you to the university secretary, which eventually got me another job last week when I was able to speak at Humboldt University in Berlin for women entrepreneurs. So the fact that I was giving my time got me to meet these startup founders that eventually got me working with them, and another work 6 months later. And I want to share again, what is this formula of how to actually make this business, how it's done. So how to tailor-made giving and also make sure it may return to you. So come prepared for every meeting. We cannot prepare for any meeting, but try to be prepared as much as possible. There was an organization, that I was introduced to. And I came prepared, kind of thinking, what can I do and offer them? But I also asked them, what are your challenge? This organization involved with high tech and with some government policies. And they said that they had several challenges, and they also wanted to get some more people, more startups, access to startups. And I thought, okay, what are resources, abilities, and network I can do? How can I use it for them? So I told them, look, I can introduce you to different startups, but also I tried to think even on different ideas. how can I help them? And they said that next month they're going to have an event. And I'm like, you know what? I'm really happy to volunteer and host your event if you'll be willing to. It was an online event. And they said, that's great. And then I told them, in 2 weeks, I'm going to Vienna because I had a work in Vienna 2 weeks later. That was already, it wasn't canceled. And then I told them, can I help you in Vienna? And they said, you know something? We are about to go and brief parliament members on the Startup Nation. Would you like to come and join us? I'm like, of course. So obviously it was for free, but I had a great opportunity to say yes. So I always, what I ask of you to do is to be prepared, to ask what are their challenges, to think how can you help them with your resources. Try to think of new ways to help them or direct them to like I asked them, hey, I'm going to Vienna, how can I be of help? And then always say yes. And I said yes, and I met those parliament members through that. And later on, we also had another event together, which I'll show you. Sorry, so if we'll try to put it in a more kind of explanatory way. So I met different people. One of the events, I met this guy called Sharma. Sharma was a banker. He introduced me to this organization, Elnet, which I just told you about. Then, through me offering to volunteer and support them with my time and abilities, we got to brief the Austrian parliaments about the Startup Nation. And then later, I kept in touch with them, which resulted in 2 days ago when I got to host a top conference with the Minister of Health of Germany just 2 days ago, and everything started because I was lost in Berlin. So this is how things work. You see that over time, you get more and more opportunities in different countries, and that's why I got back to Berlin last week. I met a woman in one of the events called Iris. She was an investor, and I asked her, Iris, what do you need for your startups? She said that they needed different workshops on networking and business development. I sent her an offer, and she politely declined. And that's okay, because I did try to meet her needs. Sometimes it doesn't work, and it's also important to say that not everything works. You remember this community I was at, so this was Guy Shy, the community. I offered to give them free lectures to their community so I could work there. And then I got to meet a client who also introduced me to their top university. So this is how life works. This is how you can make business at every port, because you meet different people, you build a relationship, you give, and then you make sure to follow up. Now, there's another very important component that is essential for you to be able to make business. It's about being proactive, initiating. Always think outside of the box. Always think about what you can give. Think about different ideas or projects that they may not have thought about. And that's how you spark more creativity in their minds, and make sure that maybe you'll find the right way to work together. Maybe it's not exactly what they thought they need, but maybe through your initiative, they will find the right solution to work with you. And maybe last one tip for you guys, the best trick. It doesn't always work, and it doesn't always easy to get people you don't know or you meet along the way to give you some opportunities or support you. So I always use the always trick in the book when I'm unsure if people would want to work with me or if they want to open up to me. I always use this question. I always ask for advice. Asking for advice is one of life's greatest hacks, because when you ask advice for someone, like, how can you help me, or what do you think should I do, or who do you think should I meet, or where should I go? When you ask for advice, first of all, the other side doesn't have to say yes. You give them a place to say yes or no or not now. But also, when you get asked for advice, most of us feel so good that we can share our knowledge and our 2 cents with other people. So when you ask someone for advice, first of all, they feel good about themselves. Second of all, they usually not only give you the advice, they give you the solution because they really want to help you. So asking for advice usually give you either a really good advice, but many times the actual solution that you need. And if that doesn't work, you can always just ask. So my friend, last thing, I want you to create your ambassadors here in Bansko, because everything I just shared was really how to meet different people, how to connect with them, how to pave your way towards building some kind of businesses. But here you have a very special community. This community is open to work with you. They experience the same thing that you're experiencing. And I want you to make sure that you remember what your friends here are doing, and also ask people, who do you need? What type of clients are you looking for, if you are looking for them? And try to remember each other on your next travels, tomorrow, next week, in 2 months. Try to remember what your friends need and connect one another, even if you're in a different country right now, because you could be your best ambassadors for one another to help you get business at every port. And last but not least, you and us, We have an amazing lifestyle, right? We meet different people, we explore the world, we really live a rich life. And I want you to remember, everywhere you go, to get these values of openness, of giving, and of initiating everywhere you go. And I promise you that when you be these people, you will make your life rich. Rich in business, rich in money, rich in opportunities, rich in experiences, rich in friendships, and enjoy every minute of it. So thank you so much, and good luck.